Hello Blender and Maya fans. I received many requests to show the differences between Maya and Blender. In this first video about this topic, I focus on the basics of both applications. So it's not about which application is better or worse, I just want to show how similar or identical functionalities can be used in the respective software. Let's first have a look at the navigation in 3D viewport here in Blender 2.79. If you use the default settings, you can rotate the view by holding down the middle mouse button and moving the mouse. The view can be zoomed by scrolling the mouse wheel or by plus and minus keys of the numpad. If you press the middle mouse button and the shift key and move the mouse, the view can be panned. By changing these settings, you can do these things without a wheel mouse, but the default settings are as explained. In Maya, on the other side, you rotate the view by pressing the Alt key, the left mouse button and then moving the mouse. Zooming can be done by scrolling the mouse wheel, or you can press the Alt key and the right mouse button and then you move the mouse. And if you would like to pan the view, you press the mouse wheel and hold the Alt key down and then you move the mouse. Okay, now we come to transformation. This is moving, rotating or scaling objects. If you want to select an object in Blender, you do this by default with the right mouse button. To move, or you can also say to translate an object, you can use the move gizmo. You can move an object along a particular axis by dragging the arrow of the gizmo with the left mouse button. But the most commonly way to transform objects is to use keyboard shortcuts in Blender. Press the G key and the object can be moved, and to confirm the movement just press the left mouse button or the Enter key. If you press X, Y or Z after pressing the G key, you can define the axis for which the movement is to be executed. By doing this, you are constraining the movement to a particular axis. To rotate an object, you can switch to the rotation gizmo. This can be used to rotate either for a specific axis or via the outer ring based on the alignment of the view. The keyboard shortcut for rotation is the R key, and the rotation can also be limited for the respective axis using the X, Y and Z keys. Scaling is done in Blender using the scale gizmo, or again more commonly, the S key can be used as a shortcut. To constrain the scaling, you can again press the X, Y or Z key. In Maya, these operations are also available and you can reach them via this menu here on the left. To move objects, select the Move gizmo or press the W key. Now it is possible to move the object along the axis by dragging the appropriate arrows of the gizmo, or move along a plane using the small square elements of the gizmo. You can also constrain the movement for an axis by pressing the Shift key and moving the mouse along a certain axis. The same applies to rotation, which can be done via the rotation gizmo. It can also be activated by pressing the E key. When holding the Shift key down and moving the mouse along a certain axis, you can use the same constraints as for the Move tool. When you select the Scale gizmo, you can scale an object. This can also be activated by pressing the R key. In both Blender and Maya, there's an object mode in which operations affect the entire object, and an edit mode for editing the geometry. In Blender, you can switch between these modes using the Tab key for selected objects. Another way to do this is to use this combo box here in the toolbar. In edit mode, you have access to vertices, edges and faces of your object. Vertices are the individual points of your 3D objects. You can select them with the right mouse button, and when you hold the Shift key down, you can select multiple vertices. Beside vertices, you can select edges of your mesh, which connects the vertices of your object. To do this, I switch to Edge Selection mode. Again, press G, R or S to apply transformations for the selected edges. Furthermore, faces can be selected, which are a closed set of edges like triangles or quads. Also, faces can be moved, rotated and scaled. So as you can see, for all selection modes, vertex, edge or face selection, you can use all the transform methods like move, scale and rotate. In Maya, switching between object and edit mode can be done by pressing the right mouse button. Then a menu will pop up and you can choose between object mode or edit mode with vertex, edge or face selection. I have chosen vertex selection here, and you can select these with the left click, and when you hold the shift key down you can multi-select vertices. The operations move, rotate and scale are available by selecting the appropriate gizmos. Like in Blender, you can execute all these operations for every selection type, vertex, edge or face selection. What I would like to show you last but not least is the possibility to change the geometry of a mesh with the operations extrude and insert edge loops. Here in Blender you can press the E key to extrude out geometry, in this example for a selected face. After pressing E you extrude new geometry. With the left click or enter key you accept the operation. Interesting shapes can be created by extrusion and subsequent scaling. By pressing the I key you can insert a face, which corresponds to an extrude without changing the position and scaling afterwards. The extrude operation can be applied to vertices, edges and faces. By pressing the Ctrl and R key you can insert new edges, so-called edge loops, and thus extend the geometry of the object. Here I insert a new edge loop, move the mouse to change the location, and then I press S to scale it afterwards. With these simple modeling tools like move, rotate, scale, extrude and insert edge loops, it's possible to create really interesting shapes. Extrude and insert edge loops is available in Maya as well. You can activate extrude for an object in edit mode by using this icon here in the toolbar. After that you can use the move gizmo here to extrude out new geometry. Of course you can use the transform tools after this, for example here for the face like scale or rotate. For every extrude operation you want to execute, you have to press this icon in the toolbar, or a different way is to use the shortcut key Ctrl E. But in Maya 2018 there's a more comfortable way to activate the extrude method. With the move gizmo selected, press the shift key, and when you hover over the gizmo you can see the extrude option. Now you can extrude this face by just dragging the gizmo's axis. When extruding in scale mode it is the same as the Blender insert operation. Inserting edge loops in Maya can be found in the Mesh Tools menu. When you select it, the mode stays active and you can insert edge loops by dragging over edges like this. As in Blender, you can scale, rotate or move the inserted edge loops afterwards. Okay guys, that's it for this first video about how stuff can be done in Blender and Maya, and if you like to see more videos like this, please let me know. And if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe to be notified when new tutorials are available. Thanks for watching this, and thanks for your support if you are already a supporter on my Patreon, and I hope you come back soon to JNM.